Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Hot Topics, 10 a.m. Eastern Time here on the Don Lemon Show on the Don Lemon Channel. I can't tell you how excited I am that you are here because I'm doing the wrong thing over here. I'm trying to mirror the video. I'm happy that you're here. We have a very busy day for you. I just want to show you what's happening in downtown Manhattan. This is a live picture of the courthouse there, federal courthouse. That's where Diddy, Sean P. Diddy Combs, is being sentenced. What is he going to get? How many years is he going to get? So what is going to happen? That's what we want to know here. And that's what America wants to know. Today is all about divides, and I'll explain it to you. People are divided on this P. Diddy thing. They are divided on what sentencing he should get. Some folks are saying, hey, he should get it. Rich people, celebrities, they should get what they deserve. Others say they threw the book at him. This is judicial overreach, that they overcharged him. And so consenting adults, whatever happens in their bedroom or whatever, it's their business as long as it's consenting adults. Not condoning that awful video of him, not the video, but just of him beating Cassie. But that's where we are this morning as it relates to that. And so that is going down now. And as soon as we get word from the courtroom, we will let you know. We've been seeing people going in and out. There are encampments there, people waiting outside in tents. Also, speaking of encampments, there's one that's happening in Washington, D.C. Let's get you live to Washington because the nation is also divided about that, but the nation is divided about what's happening. There is our capital, Washington, D.C. You see Jolly there getting ready in just a minute, but there's the capital. The shutdown is happening right now. Nothing is going on in Washington except for a whole lot of hot air. A whole lot of hot air. And then in this divide and this whole thing that we're fighting over free speech and what people get to say and how people get to protest and the First Amendment rights and all of that, we're wondering why they went into an encampment overnight that had a legal permit, federal agents, and tore down the encampment. And according to the folks who were there, they're saying that they stole the equipment and the belongings of the people inside of that encampment. So as we keep an eye on what's happening in the federal courthouse in Washington, D.C., we keep an eye on the Capitol to see if there's any sort of movement on the shutdown. We're going to our nation's capital, but this time we're going to Union Station, and we find our correspondent, Jolly, there, our Washington correspondent, to bring us the very latest on this news. Jolly, take us there. What happened with this encampment overnight? What is going on?
So, first of all, Don, thanks for having me. Good to see you. So right behind me, where you see this open area, that used to be in a couple of big tents. Now we have some photos there. You can look at them. What happened is May of this year, May 1st of this year, there was a group called Flare, Flare. They applied for a permit and they received a legal approved permit from the National Park Services to have a continual protest right here on Union Station. They got a permit to have 3 tents. These tents were 20 foot by 20 foot, and they were allowed to be here. And what they did while they were here was they would talk to passersby, and they would ask them, would they be willing to sign their name on a piece of paper saying that they want Donald Trump, they want Congress to impeach Donald Trump. And these were each individually signed pieces of paper. Instead of a petition where you got one statement, everybody signs it, it was each person signs their own piece of paper. And then they would hand deliver these papers every single week by the thousands to members of Congress demanding the impeachment, conviction, and removal of Donald Trump. Last night, well, early this morning, just before dawn at around 4:45, Park Police and U.S. Marshals, armed U.S. Marshals, showed up without warning. They told everyone in the tents to get out. They were not allowed to grab their belongings, just get the hell out. They roped off the area with police tape, and they immediately began confiscating all the equipment in the tents and tearing the tents down. They handed the Flare leadership, they called Flare leadership immediately, hey, we're being, ripped apart. Flare leadership came down. They handed them a piece of paper and said, these are all the violations of your permit. And so we're revoking your permit. Now, a couple problems with that, Don. They get inspected daily and weekly. If you have a permit out here, park police are out here every day. They inspect you as they ride their bicycles by. They've never had a violation. And by the way, um, revoking a permit's one thing, but stealing all your stuff. There was over $20,000 worth of equipment and stuff out here that they just took. They loaded it on the back of 3 big dump trucks, and boof, what was once there is now gone.
Okay, Jolly, you did some reporting on this overnight, okay? And I want to show some of the stuff that you took. And then again, we're keeping an eye on the courthouse in Manhattan to see what happens with Diddy. We want to bring you this breaking story about Washington, D.C. So you recorded something on social media. You recorded them, I guess, removing the stuff overnight. Let's take a look at some of it.
It's 5 o'clock in the morning. Actually, what time is it right now? Now it's 6 o'clock. This started at 5 o'clock. The park police has ripped away the Flair encampment. If you've been following our veterans rally point right here on Union Station, then you know who Flair is. Flair is who we were sharing this space with. They had 2 big old tents right here. Park police showed up at 5 o'clock in the morning, just suddenly, with trucks and a mass of people, and police taped the whole area off and just told everybody to get the fuck out. And they gave Flair this piece of paper stating that the reason that they've lost their permit is that they assaulted a police officer. Of course, nobody assaulted a police officer. Like, that didn't happen. I mean, you think if you assaulted a police officer, somebody would be arrested for that. They've taken all of their stuff, thrown it on the back of 3 separate trucks, and just took off. They just stole all their stuff. It's one thing to take somebody's permit, to revoke somebody's permit is another thing to steal all their stuff. By the way, Flair was here to protest against the Donald Trump administration. Flair's entire thing was they were looking to get as many people as possible to sign impeachment letters asking Congress, demanding Congress impeach, convict, and remove Donald Trump. That was their entire protest here. So they were an anti-Donald Trump, anti-fascism encampment, and the fucking cop showed up at 5 o'clock in the morning and stripped them away. I tell everybody, when you rage against the machine's going to find a way to rage back. Exhibit A.
So, Jolly,
Yes.
have they spoken to you? Did they tell you anything about who it is? Like, what are you guys doing right now? You just can't come and steal people's stuff.
You can't, exactly. So I got with me right here, Don. This is Jake. He is one of the founders of Flair, the organization that had the permit, and that, you know, that was their property that you just witnessed being stolen. And so, Jake, what reasoning at 5 o'clock this morning did they give you for basically raiding you?
They said that one of us, if not myself, assaulted a police officer, spit on a police officer, but there was no warrants or arrests made or notices given before this happened.
And if I'm not mistaken, the paper had other violations of your permit.
Yeah, there was minor infractions like extension cords and not jacketing a cord kind of stuff. Nothing major and nothing that they had given us warning about or had given us eviction notice over.
And you've never received a violation prior to today?
No, I had not.
So you see, Don, they came in never having received a violation before. Park police is here every day. They check the tents, they check the permit. And then suddenly they came in, they handed Jake this piece of paper and said, hey, you assaulted a police officer. Now, you would think that he would then be arrested or at least charged with assault. That didn't happen. They just stole all their stuff. And I spoke with former Metro Police Officer Michael Fanone shortly after this and confirmed with him, this is not protocol. If you're taking somebody's permit away, that just means they lost their permit. They get to take their stuff and leave. You don't get to steal their stuff.
Michael Fanone actually joins us now. Michael, weigh in on that. Is this unusual? Can they just come in and steal somebody's stuff and leave? You're muted.
Sorry, Don. The short answer to that is no. I think it's important to recognize the fact that this is not a criminal investigation; it's an administrative process. This group, Flair, did in fact have a permit for these structures at Union Station, and they had so for several months now. In typical times, the way that this would work is if there are several reasons why they can revoke your permit. They can revoke it for public safety or for public health purposes. If you remember, Don, I'm sure you do, back when they had the Occupy DC and the Occupy Wall Street movement, they had a tent encampment in downtown Washington, D.C. at Freedom Plaza, and eventually they revoked their permit due to health concerns about that tent encampment. But even then, once it's deemed that there are violations, the permit holder is given written notice, and they are given a period of time, whether that's 24 hours, 48 hours. It can be any time determined by the superintendent, but it's a reasonable amount of time to come into compliance. My understanding from talking to Jolly and others that were there at the encampment, that there was no notice given, that the Marshal Service and Park Service showed up and began disassembling the encampment without any type of due process, without giving them notice, without providing them an opportunity to gain compliance. And then, there was this bit about, and I haven't seen the actual revocation letter that Jolly has, but the idea that, they're revoking the permit because of some type of assault on law enforcement. Well, if that's the case, it doesn't seem as there's any type of documentation of that. And the other thing that's concerning is, even if you do revoke the permit, the taking away of individuals' personal property without giving them an opportunity to reclaim that is something that I've never heard of. I mean, even when you saw the homeless encampments that this administration went after early on, they gave those individuals multiple warnings, and gave them an opportunity to take their personal property and leave. And those people did not have permits to be encamped in the locations that they were throughout the District of Columbia. And so this, to me, calling it what it is, it seems like it was a targeted event because of the content of this particular group's messaging.
So then, Michael, what recourse do they have? I know you're not an attorney, but you're, a law enforcement expert and a former police officer. What can they do? How do they get their property back? What is there anything they can do to sue? Or you said it's an administrative thing; it's not criminal. So what can they do?
I mean, listen, I advise Jolly to, tell the Flair guys to make an itemized list of the property that they had inside the tent. I mean, I was by the tents, on several occasions. I saw that there were, laptops and printers and a Starlink so that they could have internet service. Make an itemized list, go down to the Metropolitan Police Department's 1st District and file a police report. Other things that I would recommend them doing is, trying to pursue the administrative process and appealing this decision. Although it seems that the damage has already been done. But I refer back to there's the statue that went up. I don't know if you remember this, Don, the statue of Epstein holding hands with Donald Trump, and that was removed. And my understanding now is that through an appeals process, it's actually been reinstated.
Yeah, I can confirm it's back.
Yeah, so I would, that's what I would recommend is, pursuing the legal process. I mean, you've got to stand up to violations of individuals' First Amendment rights in this country.
Wow, this is unbelievable. Do we have any other footage that we can run?
I have right here with me, Tori, Don. Tori was actually manning the Flair tent when this happened. So Tori,
Mm-hmm.
like, talk to, you were in the tent,
Yep.
1 second, next second, what?
Yeah, so I was in the tent just going away, plugging, recording some of the petitions that people sent to us, just sitting there on my computer. And all of a sudden, we have a U.S. Park Service person come in, hand us a piece of paper, which was a notice that we had to vacate. Immediately, we were told we had to pack up and go, or else there was going to be further issues, and that there were police outside, and so we had to move right away.
So, but they're telling you got to vacate, but you weren't even given any time to vacate.
No time. We didn't have time to read the notice that told us to vacate. I think I got through like the first 2 lines, and then they kept rushing us to move. So we didn't even have a chance to understand what we were being asked to vacate for. Luckily, I was able to call Jake, who's one of the Flare leaders, and get him on, and he came over right away. But I'm just a volunteer, so it was really, it was a lot.
Literally.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tori.
Yeah, of course.
And you were here too, right? Yep. Right. And so, like, talk us through what happened from your perspective.
So once I got the alert, there was some commotion going down. I came down, I guess about maybe 5:30. I seen Park Police. They was accompanied by Homeland Security. Homeland Security had, there was more like a riot configuration. They had the pepper ball guns. They had about 3 flatbed trucks, maybe about 20 personnel, and they were just taking everything down. They asked me who I was with. I said our organization, Remember Your Oath. They specifically did not target our tent, but they seemed to be focused on taking everything down from Flare. They came in, and within maybe 45 minutes, everything was gone down to the foundations. They packed up everything, personal effects, computers, all the anti-Trump flags, whatever. They grabbed it all. They said they'd take it to a central location and do an inventory on it. And if anybody wants to make a claim to it, they can do it with a permit office.
Did they tell you where you can go for these claims?
Yeah, so they said we could do it at the permit office. Yeah, permit office.
And where do they store this stuff? Do any of you guys have any idea?
Thanks, I appreciate you. No, they didn't. They just said that they're going to inventory it, and you can make a claim at the permit office. I mean, I have a couple of my own personal items. These are little personal items that I just put in the back of the Flare tent for safekeeping, and they're gone. And I'm hoping I can get them back. But like Michael said, I mean, this was literally theft of property. Over $20,000 worth, if you count the tents, how much they cost, all the equipment that was inside. They had a stage out here that they used for rallies. They had a PA system. They had lots of art equipment, because when we go to rallies and do activations, we'll make signs and stuff. I mean, dude, I can make you a long list. It's about $20,000 worth of stuff. And as you heard Tori say, they gave them less than 2 minutes to vacate before they took it.
Now, what were the garbage trucks there for? Was that for protection, or was that for,
That's what they were loading all the stuff. They were like, yeah, they were like flatbed trucks, not like your standard dump truck, but like flatbed trucks. And they were loading everything on that.
I see a garbage truck there, Jolly. Am I wrong?
Oh, you might have. Then I might not even have caught that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they were throwing stuff in there, if they were using it, sort of to, I don't know if it's a battering ram, is the same thing, or just as a barricade, rather. So, Michael, the question is now, or the conversation now is about due process, and whether this administration can round people up, round people's belongings up with no due process. There's no recourse. They can beat people up. They can knock women and photographers to the ground and punch and elbow people in the face. And so what does this mean? I guess Donald Trump said, do what you want. You can handle people and treat them like you want. You can beat them up if you want. That's not supposed to happen in America, but this is America right now.
Yeah, they seem to be taking the approach that they're going to do what they want to do, and then it's up to the individually affected Americans to pursue some type of recourse. In this case, it would be fighting the revocation of the permit. But again, the damage has been done. I see when you're referring to these violent incidents between law enforcement, specifically the agency ICE. They're targeting a vulnerable community, a community that doesn't have the resources to fight back. And so, unfortunately, I think that's why they've gotten away with that behavior as long as they have. But I think that it's incumbent upon each and every one of us and organizations to stand up for these folks and to fight back against this administration using, every judicial tool available to us.
Don't let them get away with it. Someone is saying in the chat. Jolly, you have some people with you.
Yeah, actually, this is completely in line with what Michael was talking about, so it's a great segue. Jake, who we spoke with just a minute ago, is one of the leaders of Flare, and Randy is also one of the leaders of Flare. And I wanted to talk to them and let them kind of, what are you going to do now? Like, what's your course of action? So Michael Fallon, you can't hear it because I'm not here, but what he was basically saying was, the administration is doing what they want, and they're leaving it on the people that's affected to do something about it. Yeah. So what's your plan?
So we're going to do something about it. So right after this, I'm going to head back over to my senator's office. I already visited them this morning once, so I'm going to go back and see if I can't get some appointments for us and for the Gaza flotilla veterans that are being held by Israel right now. So I'm going to be doing that right when we finish. Other than that, we're gonna be here. We're not going anywhere. We're going to stay. We're going to keep doing what we do. We're going to go lobby our congressman to impeach, convict, and remove Trump for everything that he's done. And yeah, so there's now we're even more determined to do this.
And this is what they're doing, Jolly, to combat vets. A lot of these people are combat vets, right?
Yeah, Randy, you're a veteran.
I am. Yep, I did 8 years in the Air Force. Yep.
And so, yeah, and the tent that you mentioned, it, Don, the tent behind you, the only one that's still standing is our tent, the veteran tent. They didn't mess with that, oddly enough. Do you plan on petitioning the permit office to appeal this decision?
100%. This is clearly an illegal revocation of our permit without proper warning and our stuff, petitioning to get our stuff back, petitioning for the permit back, lawyering up, and going after this honestly manufactured reason to take us down. Because
I think what people need to understand too, it's not easy to get a permit. No. Like, you talk us through how you had to get the permit to even be here.
Well, first is the application process, which is online. You have to do it 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, $120 fee. Then you have to have a couple logistics meetings explaining each and every single step of what you intend to do, how you intend to set up, how many tables, how many chairs. Just every little detail has to be laid out before you get granted a permit.
So it takes about a week or so to even get it. And you, during those logistics meetings, you're meeting with Park Police, Capitol Police, you're meeting with National Park Service, you're meeting everybody. So you didn't just happen by a permit. You put the work in for it.
Yeah, definitely. We put the work in for it, and we've set it up here that they come and they inspect us at least 2-3 times a week. Right. This is normal for them because they're getting pressure to come, and make sure we're still within our permit. And we are. Every single time we've been within our permit. There's been 0 issues on site ever with either our structures or with our volunteers.
So this was the first time you even had a violation?
Correct. Yep.
And it was violent. And through the approval process, they tell you what will happen if you violate. Yeah. And I think it's in line with what Michael Fanon was just saying. You're given the violation and then given an opportunity to come in compliance, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and there's been a couple little things here and there that they've said, hey, this has to be, within regulations that we've had to fix. So yeah, they'll give us, a few days to fix it and then come back and inspect again and make sure we did it. And that's usually it.
Do you guys plan on lawyering up?
Oh yeah, definitely 100%. We're already in the works on that.
So you're already looking to get an attorney. Yeah. So that's the plan, Don. Like Michael said, I mean, they're stuck fighting for themselves with whatever resources they have after this clear violation of their First Amendment. Because if you get a permit and you come out and you protest, you not only are within your First Amendment, but you've actually followed the law to get the permit, to make sure you're all, above water. And this illegal seizure of their property, as Michael pointed out, this revocation of their permit without any written warning. So now they're stuck getting attorneys, going to their Congress people's office. This is what we have to do.
Jolly, thank you. Michael, thank you. You guys stand by. I may be back with you shortly because I want to check on some other news and I want to get a break in from our sponsor. So that's what's happening in Washington, D.C. right now. As you know, not much happening on Capitol Hill except for, people blaming each other, blaming the other side. But I want to take you to a courthouse in Manhattan, and that's where Diddy is being sentenced today. Is he going to get 14 years? Is he going to get 1 year? Is he going to get 3, 5, 7? What is going to happen inside that courtroom? It is going on now. We're not going to go far. 2 minutes for a word from our sponsors, and we're back with this story. The Don Lemon Show is brought to you by the Freedom from Religion Foundation. Let's talk some facts here, because all across the U.S., politicians are trying to sneak religion into public schools. 10 Commandments, posters on the walls, chaplains with no clinical training, and vouchers siphoning money from public schools into private religious ones that often shut out LGBTQ kids or non-Christians. But the Freedom from Religion Foundation is fighting back. Just recently, they helped block a Texas law that would have required every classroom to display the 10 Commandments. That's not freedom, that's coercion. FFRF defends the First Amendment in court, in Congress, and in classrooms to keep public education truly public. So don't let your rights be rewritten. Learn more at ffrf.org/school or text my first name, Don, that's D-O-N, to 511-511. That's ffrf.org/school or text Don to 511-511, because your kid's math teacher shouldn't be moonlighting as your Sunday school preacher. Support for the Don Lemon Show comes from Hexclad. For years, I was torn between stainless steel pans and nonstick. Well, stainless gives you that pro-level sear, but cleaning it, forget about it. Nonstick is easy, but it flakes, it scratches, it quits on you faster than a New Year's resolution. And then I found Hexclad, and let me tell you, these pans are the real deal. It's like stainless and nonstick had a perfect little baby. I use mine for everything. Quick weeknight stir fries, Sunday night steak night, even scrambled eggs. My go-to is a 12-inch pan. It's big enough for a meal with Tim and the pups circling my feet, but still it's easy to handle. They're scratch resistant, they're dishwasher safe, oven safe for up to 500 degrees, toxin free, and they come with a lifetime warranty. Plus Gordon Ramsay uses them, and he's a little harder to please than I am, right? So if you got one of those sad pans that you're always using, it's in the back of the cabinet, let it go. Upgrade to Hexclad. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off of Hexclad at hexclad.com/lemon. That's HEXCLAD.com/lemon. Trust me, your kitchen deserves it. So does your tummy. All right, so welcome back to the program. Again, I want to take you down to Manhattan. This is a courthouse, the U.S. District Court in Manhattan, in New York City. And so can we talk about what's happening today as we wait on this sentencing? Because we are really a country divided right now. I want to talk about, this is a story that really everyone is talking about, or if they're not talking about it now, you guys think it's a shutdown. It's not. It's Diddy Combs. That's what people are going to be talking about today, about Sean Diddy Combs being sentenced. The truth is that we don't know what the judge is going to do. 11 years, maybe. I'm getting word that there may be some news coming out. 14 months, something in between. Nobody knows how much time he's going to get, and that uncertainty is the point right now. That's why people are glued to this particular case. Because this trial was never just about Diddy, it was about the system, about the limits of power, about how America looks at fame. Now, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but some folks are saying, stay out of my bedroom. So I don't know what you guys think. You guys think that he should get more or he should get less? Now, remember, he wasn't on trial for beating Cassie, because if he was, then that means I think he should spend, a lot of time in jail. But we have to remember that prosecutors threw everything they had at Sean Diddy Combs. The heaviest charges, though, didn't stick in this case. So what did stick? It was charges that were tied to transporting adults across state lines for sex. And the uncomfortable truth about all this is that a lot of people look at these charges, as I said, as they say consenting adults. They made their choices. That's their business. That's why some believe that this was judicial overreach. The government was trying to make an example out of Sean Diddy Combs when they couldn't convict him on the big counts. They went after the big fish and they didn't get what they wanted. So now we're left with two courts, I should say. We have the legal court, and then we have the court of public opinion. I want to know if those two are going to merge today. The judge will hand down one sentence, but will the people accept this sentence? Or will we see another divide between what the law decides and then how the culture feels? And that divide isn't about Diddy, just Diddy. That divide is America right now, because we see it in Washington. You saw we had Jolly up there. We showed you the Capitol. The government is shut down. And the government is shut down not because the money ran out, not because the compromise was impossible, but because Donald Trump and his people and his acolytes and his sycophants would rather hold your paycheck hostage than to govern. They'd rather lie about, this is what this is about. It's about transgender athletes. It's about Cadillac healthcare for undocumented immigrants. None of that was true. Families are waiting to see if their next check is going to come. Workers are waiting to see if this is days, weeks, or months. And nobody knows. Everyone is waiting, just like Diddy is waiting. Just like this whole country is waiting, that we're waiting for accountability that never seems to come, that you can just go in the middle of the night and take someone's belongings and ramshackle their tents and tell them to get out when they have a legal permit. So this morning, before most of us woke up, as we showed you with Jolly and Michael Fanone, there were federal marshals storming Union Square in DC, armed, armored, moving like they were an occupying force. And what did they target? They didn't target criminals. It wasn't gangs. But they targeted a protest, a permitted protest that protest has been there, as I understand, since May the 1st. For 5 months, these people gathered. They're collecting signatures. They were writing letters, hand-delivering thousands of those letters to Congress, calling for impeachment. Donald Trump didn't like that. But you know what? That's democracy. But this democracy is anathema to this administration. This was peaceful dissent. And at 5 a.m., it was wiped away. Property was confiscated. Belongings were seized. A police source, who is Michael Fanone, told us flat out that this is not policy. When a permit is revoked, you're not supposed to roll in like that. You don't take people's things. So this wasn't about enforcing rules. The rules are not being enforced right now. Or they want to enforce rules on people who they feel don't have the resources to fight back. They want to enforce rules on people, but they don't want the rules enforced on them. This is about sending a message, and that message is really chilling right now, that dissent will not be tolerated. Are you going to stand for that? Are you going to stand for people? Are you going to stand for people saying, you cannot dissent? No dissent here. You have to go along with us or we're going to crush you. Are you okay with that? I'm not okay with that. I will fight to my last breath for what the Constitution tells me is my right or are my rights as an American. I don't care who's in the White House. I tell you guys this every single time. The people in Washington forget that they are public servants. They think that you, the media, everyone, police, all of the justice, judges, they think that you work for them. But we have this backwards. We're like through the looking glass. We're through the mirror. They are public servants. They work for us. Donald Trump and many of the people in his administration, they're in public housing. We're paying for that. So we have the ability to stand up and fight back. And Jimmy Kimmel, that didn't show you anything, then I don't know if anything will show you anything. Green. The dollar is really the only color they care about. They try to pretend that this is about brown people and black people. This is about trans people. No, this is about green people on the money, presidents, This is about dead presidents on the money, on green paper. That's what this is about. And power. You got to stand up, people. You have to be willing to sacrifice something. It is part of your right to be able to do this. So, we got what's happening in Washington. We got Diddy waiting for a judge. We have families waiting for paychecks. We have protesters waiting for accountability. We have people who have been caught up in all of this chaos waiting for accountability, who've been rounded up on the streets with no due process waiting for accountability. People who have been thrown to the ground, noses busted, taken away on gurneys, who knows what kind of injuries from these fucking goons, clowns that are out there just, get the fuck out of here, get off the fucking elevator. These ignoramuses. Goon squads. And what is the president doing? If you guys have it, Andy showed, he is online posting memes, videos of himself as a Grim Reaper and of Russell Vogt as a Grim Reaper. Like, all this is just a game. There's the video right there. It's juvenile, it's petty, and it's small. He looks like a fucking idiot because he is. He thinks that this is funny and that he's owning the libs. But I tell you what, you let people stop getting their paychecks. You let people's health care start to go up. And tell me if they're going to laugh at these so-called memes. I say, okay, this is what I say. Let Russell Vogt do what he wants to. Let him start cutting jobs if they want to cut jobs. Go for it. This is what you voted for. You fucked around and you found out. Go for it. Because most of us are going to be okay. And by most of us, I mean the people who live in places who did not vote for Donald Trump, because we're donor states. We're in places that have money for the most part. Most of us are in blue places. But the people who supported Donald Trump, the people who are in rural states and rural areas, like Will Westmoreland, who was on yesterday, a farmer in the heartland, they don't have the resources that people in big cities do, in blue places. This will affect more of Donald Trump supporters than it will of other folks. And they know that. That's why he's doing these dumb, stupid tactics. So if I were a Democrat and I was in leadership, I would just be like, go for it. I'm having my orange juice right now. Have a good time. And when you see your premiums go up, you're going to know something. So you got Donald Trump with the dumb Grim Reaper shit. Half the country laughs with him. Half the country is just horrified by it. And then that is another divide. So that is the thread that I believe runs through all of this. You have a celebrity empire collapsing in court, with some calling it justice and others calling it overreach. That's a divide. You have a government shutdown on purpose, some blaming Democrats, others blaming Trump. That's a divide. You have a legal protest raided in the dark, with some calling it law and order and others calling it tyranny. Divide there as well. A president turning all of this into memes, with some treating it like entertainment and others treating it like a disgrace. A divide. We are divided right now. This isn't United States of America. This is the divided states of America. This is the America that we're living in. A country that's not just divided politically, but divided in reality itself. We don't just disagree on outcomes. We don't really agree on we don't even agree on what's real right now. Do we agree? And in that gap, in that divide, power grows. When the courts say one thing and the people believe another. We've seen that far too often when government collapses and half the country shrugs, when protests are erased in silence, under the cover of darkness, in the middle of the night, or in the wee hours of the morning, when memes replace policy, that's when accountability disappears. That's when waiting becomes the norm. We're like in a holding pattern. We're waiting, we're waiting, we're waiting. But you know what they say? The Lord helps those who what? Help themselves. We have to help ourselves in this moment. We can't just be in a holding pattern. We can't just be waiting in the waiting room. We got to go, hey, we need to get back there. I got to go see the doctor. I got to see the wizard. I'm going to go and tell the wizard how I feel. I'm going to go pull back the curtain. We can't just be in a holding pattern, sitting on the tarmac, waiting to take off. You got to be willing to sacrifice something. And I believe protests work. And you know what's working right now? The courts. And what are we all doing this morning? We're waiting, we're waiting, we're waiting. We're waiting to hear how much time Diddy's going to serve. We're waiting to see how long the shutdown is going to last in Washington. We're waiting for answers about a raid that never should have happened. We're waiting for accountability from leaders who never seem to face accountability right now. And people who are always waiting are people who stop demanding. That's the danger. So every day when I bring you guys this, I look for, I tell you my literary mentor and hero is James Baldwin. And so you'll hear me quoting him as often as I can. Baldwin said, ignorance allied with power is the most ferocious enemy justice can have. Michael Fanone knows that. And we see it right here, a government thriving on keeping us in limbo, a president thriving on distraction, a justice system that's thriving on division. But the truth is right now, in this waiting, the time is not really for them to give or take our time. It's ours. As I say, the power is ours. So yes, and like I said the other day, it's not their money. It's their money because you give it to them. This is what happened with the whole Jimmy Kimmel thing. It's their money because you give it to them. And then when you stop giving them your money, what do? They relent because they're always chasing what I said, the only color that they really care about, and that is green. So yes, today is about Diddy. Yes, it's about the shutdown. Yes, it's about a raid on protesters. But more than anything, it's about a nation that's suspended in limbo. We're suspended in time. And the real question is this for everyone. How long do we wait before we demand something different? And that's where we are this morning. Evidence of things that I just said that were seen and not seen after a short break from our sponsors. The Don Lemon Show is sponsored by Ollie. This one's for the dog parents out there. You all know how much I love my dogs, Boomer, Barkley, and Gus Gus. They run the Lemon household, and I'm just the staff here. So that's why I switched to Ollie. They make fresh, protein-packed meals with real human-grade ingredients, the kind I eat myself, and if I didn't, have my own dinner. And they deliver them straight to my door. Barkley's favorite is the beef recipe. Gus Gus, chicken all day. And Boomer will eat anything. He's like his dad. So he's picky, but he'll eat anything. So what I love most is that it's personalized. You take a 30-second quiz. Ollie builds a meal plan for your dog, and the app even has on-demand health screenings with real experts. Since switching my dogs, more energy they have, shinier coats, fewer gassy surprises. You know what I mean? That's a win for everybody. So head to ollie.com/lemon and use the code LEMON for 60% off of your first box. They even have a happiness guarantee. So if your pup isn't into it, you get your money back. That's OLLIE.com/lemon, code LEMON. Your dog deserves this. Support for the show comes from Lean. Now listen, we've all seen the fad diets, the juice cleanses, the cabbage soup diet. Remember that? Kale, everything, that too. You lose a few pounds and then it creeps back plus a couple more, sometimes a whole lot more. Doctors call it weight cycling. Half of Americans do it, and it puts you at a higher risk for diabetes, heart disease, stroke, and all the stuff that you do not want. That's where lean comes in. It is a non-prescription supplement created by doctors, not another shot or a trendy gimmick. It works 3 ways. It helps control blood sugar, it curbs cravings, and it actually helps your body burn fat for energy. So for me, the cravings part is key because, you know, when I get on a roll with doing my show in the morning or at night or whatever and show prep, I don't always reach for carrot sticks. So if you're tired of losing and regaining the same weight, even more, as I say, and then that's where you should turn to lean. Add lean to your diet and exercise routine. Get 20% off with code LEMON at takelean.com. That's code LEMON at takelean.com. Stay healthy, stay consistent, and maybe keep the kale smoothies as optional. Thanks to our sponsors. Okay, welcome back, everyone. So let's talk about what's going on. I want to again show you the courthouse. This is downtown Manhattan. This is the U.S. District Courthouse in Manhattan. And that's where Diddy is going to be hearing about his sentencing. Okay? That's where you're going to be hearing about his sentencing. Look, it's a circus down there. I just want to show you what is happening outside of the courthouse. Campers. Campers outside the courthouse. Look at those little personal tents. Whoever came up with that idea is a genius. Did you guys see that? That's outside of the courthouse. And then this is Diddy. How long is Diddy's sentencing video right here? I think this is what they're going to play, what his team is going to play to try to get him less time.
Yeah, this is long. This is a 12-minute video.
Okay, we'll play some of it. Okay, go ahead.
When my baby cries.
You gotta give her a bottle then.
Know that you mean something to people. Know that you mean something to people. Like you live somewhere in people's heart.
My nose fell off. Ah! No, then my lip fell off. Thank you. You wear it?
You inspire, you energize, and you've left that for the rest of the existence of this planet, man.
One thing about great producers is they make you want to do better and be better about what you do. And he made me feel like I could do anything and go anywhere.
I'm from New York. I love New York. I love the city of New York. I love the children of New York. I wanted to do something good. I wanted to get my generation in the hip-hop community behind us. They come through in a big way. And we wanted to raise some money for the children of New York City for health and education. We have a huge education crisis. And, you know, this is just a start. It's something we're going to be committed to. I'm going to be committed to for a lifetime. And it's no better way than taking it to the streets. It's a beautiful city, running all around the city. It's going to be painful. It's going to be rough. But, you know, if we get through it, then it'll show kids and everybody else that, you know, finish what you start and you can do anything you put your mind to. Any of y'all go to public school?
Yeah.
Okay, y'all running to raise money for your schools. So y'all get more books and computers and stuff like that. I just feel like it's important that us, you know, young adults of power, that we look out for y'all. And we utilize our power to make sure y'all all right in the future. Put everything you can into your work, you know. Don't think the cool thing is not to do your work. Don't think the cool thing is to hang on the corner with your friends and to talk about stuff that ain't gonna protect your future.
What did you learn about him as a man who was taking up a new sport?
Well, you know, I was actually very impressed. You know, a lot of people think it's just a celebrity stunt, that he isn't serious about his running. He is as serious about his running, has been the last 9 weeks, as a lot of these guys in the lead pack. I mean, he's really devoted and dedicated himself to running. You know, he's had some knee problems, and a lot of people don't think he's going to finish. He is going to finish, even if he has to do it on one leg, because he's raised a lot of money.
That his defense team is going to play in the courtroom. They may be playing it right now so that the judge and others can hear it before sentencing, to make him more human Let's keep listening.
Clap it up on the sideline. Let's get our energy right. Come on. To make sure that you pursuing your dream, that you staying focused. Let's go. Let's keep going forward. Let's go means let's be positive. Let's take it up another notch. Let's go spend time with our kids. Let's go. Let's give thanks to God. Let's go. You know, let's turn it up. Let's get in the vocal booth. Let's stop procrastinating. Let's go. You know, let's understand what it's going to take to achieve that dream. So instead of talking about the guns or the violence, I was always talking about a better life. Places we didn't go before. Things we never wore. Cars we never drove. Houses we never lived in. I think I brought an aspiration to hip-hop. Tried to take it out of just being street. Our whole stuff was a fantasy and a dream that I always felt would come true. I started out just like you guys.
Wow.
I come from New York. I grew up in Harlem. I used to have to wear a uniform every day. Had to get up early in the morning, had to travel to go to school. I worked hard, just like you guys are working. This country and this world we live in may have planned for y'all. I didn't listen to that, and I don't want y'all to listen to it either. Y'all are great. Y'all are kings. Y'all are queens. Y'all are leaders. I just got so excited because this is truly a dream come true for me. And I'm happy to say this is our third school we have opened. It's official.
Do you think this is effective? Will this change the judge's mind or influence the judge? Would it influence you? This video that the defense is going to play, that's according to our Simone Redwine, by the way. He's going to join us later. Here it is.
To me on Instagram.
We met Sean Diddy Combs for the first time, and Sean gave Trey a $25,000 grant, which allowed us to open a physical store.
Revolt, as one of the only Black-owned networks, we have to own something. We have to have something that's ours. We have to have something that we can control our narrative, and we could speak about things that are important to us, and we could have a platform and a foundation to be free.
So here's how I feel about this. I mean, honestly, if I had anything to do with this and I was in a courtroom, this would piss me off. And if I were the other side, I don't know if the other side is in this, they're at sentencing, I would, you know how come on, you guys know how I would reply. How would you reply to this? I would say, ladies and gentlemen of the court, judge, with all due respect, this is the video, the only video that everyone needs to see. And then I would play the Cassie video. I'm just saying. I don't know why the defense would do this and take that chance, because perhaps these people may do it. Now, look, yeah, has he accomplished a lot? Yes, he has. Does that have to do with anything? I don't know. I mean, they're doing whatever they can. The defense is supposed to do that. They're supposed to defend him. But I mean, I would just be like, this is the only video that you really need to see. I would like to leave you with the video. You know, a little bit more, and then we'll see what's happening in the courtroom.
At this time in life, and you're a good person that understands reality. So we're gonna accentuate the positives in life, because you're doing great, girl. You're doing great.
God knows.
You know what I'm saying? You're doing great. I want you to be happy about your life. You're doing great. We got a lot of living to do now. We got a lot of living to do. Don't have me come behind me. I'll be taking you everywhere. You be going everywhere.
You hang out together.
Okay, what's your name?
When you were a little boy, Jeannie.
All right,
Okay.
that's enough of that. Don't you think that's enough? And if you guys, let me know if you want to see more. Because this is the video that I think people will say, wait, even though this is not what he was on trial for, but this is a video that I would show. So I'm only showing this to you because this is how the legal process works. That's how it works. And remember, I'm not even going to show that because there were those fools outside the courthouse celebrating with baby oil. We don't need to, please don't show that. But if you want to know what the leader of the free world has to say about this, regardless of what the court decides today, this is your president, Donald Trump.
You mentioned one. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening. And I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, that relationship busted up from what I read. I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. It's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing. So it's not a popularity contest. So I don't know. I would certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on me. Mr. President.
So there you go. I see Michael Panonis in the waiting room, in the green room. Michael, he would pardon Diddy. Possibly.
That doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't. Why not?
Well, number one, Donald Trump is he loves celebrity, and so in showing favor to Diddy, I'm sure that he could encourage Diddy to in turn say something nice about him publicly. And that for Donald Trump would be worth, any of the criticism that he might receive for extending a pardon to Diddy.
Yeah. Michael, as we're watching this courtroom, because it's supposed to happen soon, I want to focus on what's happening in Washington, D.C. I'm going to put this up. This is what NBC News is reporting, and others are reporting as well, that Trump is using government emails to weaponize this shutdown. He's using people's personal signatures for their out of office, basically blaming, we can put up the emails, basically blaming the shutdown on Democrats. And so if someone sends an email because they're out, right, they're closed, they're not at work, this is the response they get, the out of office that comes to you automatically. Thank you for contacting me on September 19, 2025. The House of Representatives passed the clean continuing resolution. Unfortunately, Democrat senators, and grammar is wrong, are blocking passage in the Senate, which led to a lapse in appropriations. Due to this lapse in appropriations, I am currently in furlough status. I will respond to emails once government functions resume. Now, you worked in a big agency. How would you feel if someone did that? Now, what if someone sent out an email during the Biden administration or saying, Donald Trump, sorry, we can't have business today because Donald Trump inspired an insurrection in front of the Capitol, and I would, encourage you, or whatever.
At least that would have been true.
It would have been true, but I would not have liked it.
Yeah, no, not at all. And I'd say this. I mean, the Heller Act prohibits government employees from engaging in, any type of political speech as in accordance or with their official duties, their official government, office space, email addresses, all of those things. And so, I mean, this is a clear violation, but this is actually the tamest that I've ever seen. I was on somebody had pointed out to me that webpage for the HUD for Housing and Urban Development said that, you know, the office was closed because of the radical left lunatics.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine pulling up a government website and having that message come up in a chirogram. I mean, that's, you know, pretty insane.
Yeah. So we are, let's see. You saw the Trump AI video that was posted last night. We saw that, and him as, you know, and as the Grim Reaper and Russell Vogt, yada, yada, yada. Russell Vogt is tweeting this, that he's canceling $2 billion in Chicago projects. He tweeted yesterday or the day before that he's also canceling billions of dollars for money for projects in New York City as it relates to, I think it's the Holland Tunnel or the Hudson Tunnel and the Second Avenue subway system, and then other green initiatives, billions and billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's just further examples of this administration's willingness to weaponize government to go after the opposition party, which is the Democratic Party. I mean, they're targeting now groups or funding efforts that are important to the Democratic Party. And I even heard Donald Trump say himself that, you know, don't worry, during the government shutdown, the only people that we're going to be firing are Democrats. And that we're going to be looking into firing, you know, as many Democrats as we can from the government. You know, clearly this is not a person who is a president for all Americans.
I wonder if it was, you know, if people who lived in blue states like New York and California, and I wonder if we like just withheld our tax dollars, what would happen? It would be great if the governors of those states said, you know what, we're not going to do it. We're not sending you that money. We're taking that money because we need it for projects in our own states, and see what happens in rural Trump supporting America. Or perhaps we should secede. I'm just saying. Can you imagine? It would be like
Marjorie Taylor Greene. No, I mean,
can you imagine? I'm joking, but can you imagine?
No, I don't think anything should be off the table at this point, though, especially with regard to, you know, with what withholding, you know, funding. I mean, you look at like states like California, states like New York that literally fund everything that's in between. And so, yeah, I think that these blue states need to step up. I think they need to unify with one another. They should have a uniform response to this administration's, you know, efforts to subvert their authority in their individual states. I mean, you know, like I was very attracted to the Republican Party at one point in my life, and a big part of that was the idea that they were for a limited encroachment of the federal government on states' rights. And now you literally have a federal government that is attacking the independence of these states only because they are Democratic-run states.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe it's not a bad idea. Who knows? I was joking, but I think, as you said, everything should be on the table right now. I want to play. This is Mike Johnson, who was on NBC News. You know, Mike is the Speaker of the House, Republican. You know, he's got that weird internet monitoring, whatever sites with his son, which is just bizarre. But here it is.
They want to give taxpayer-funded benefits to illegal aliens again. We cut all that out because it doesn't follow our law and it doesn't follow common sense.
Mr. Speaker,
no, it is. Look at page 57, section 2141 of the bill that Chuck Schumer filed.
I had a hankering feeling you were going to bring that up, and I actually did look at it, and we can't get into it obviously here on the show. But that last statement was a bit misleading. This idea that they want.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Mr. Speaker,
no, they want to to cut out, they want to repeal and reverse the reforms that we made, and that
Dude,
would add $200 billion taxpayer funds to illegal aliens. Go to my website, speaker.gov. You can see it for yourself.
Mr. Speaker, to my earlier point, this conversation that we're having, as important as it may be, to folks who are just sitting in watching and listening and thinking, you know what? These guys can't even keep the government open. In the United States of America in 2025, Democrats and Republicans can't even work together to provide a functioning government.
Well, the Republicans are working right now. They've done our job. We passed a bipartisan bill out of the House to keep the government open. So if you're frustrated, call the 44 Senate Democrats who are holding this up. It is their vote.
Oh, my God. Excuse me, sir. Sir, please stop. Stop misleading the American people on live. If you're going to be on this program and you get a chance to speak directly to the American people, then they deserve for you to tell the truth, and please be respectful. What you said there was a lie. No matter how many ways you try to change it, or you yell at me, or how loud you talk, or how much you try to talk over me, what you said is a lie, and the American people needs to know that. It's that easy.
Yeah, no, it's important to remember. Well, first and foremost, yes, Mike Johnson is a liar. Yeah. He's recently lied about Donald Trump being an FBI informant during the Epstein investigation. Complete and utter lie. And even Kash Patel had to come out and clean that mess up. Then he lied recently about, it came out in the new House investigation into January 6th that there were 270 some odd FBI agents that were deployed to the Capitol on January 6th. Well, they were deployed there in response to the insurrection that was taking place at the Capitol to assist with crowd control. Mike Johnson lied and said that those individuals were actually in the crowd and may have instigated some of the violence as if it was some type of a false flag operation. Lie. Absolute lie. Kash Patel came out and cleaned that up. Now he's lying about the reason for the government shutdown. I mean, he's a Trump sycophant. He's a liar, and he's an insurrectionist. Too many of us have forgotten the fact that this was one of the main authors of the amicus bill that tried to justify Donald Trump replacing electors back in 2020 so that he could declare himself the winner of that election, despite the fact that he was not. And so this is he's a dangerous person in the position that he is, because he is willing to lie on behalf of the president to the American people, and he's willing to break the law and use his position at the time as an attorney and as a member of Congress to lend credibility to a completely false argument that was actually an illegal act.
Wow, it's really unbelievable. Producers, get me the document. I want to look at page 57 when he said, because he's saying it's misleading. But I think what he's referring to is that in cases of emergency, right, we just don't let people die on the side of the road, kind of thing. And then maybe they want to take that out. I don't know, but I would need to read it. This is
we're referring to illegals or undocumented persons receiving health care. I mean, every hospital in this country provides care to anyone that comes in there, whether they're undocumented, whether they are uninsured, because they have a responsibility in taking the Hippocratic Oath to provide care for human beings who may be in distress. That is something that has always been respected in this country and is respected universally, pretty much every place on this planet. But yes, I mean, he's conflating that and the fact that, if you are an undocumented person and you are in some type of medical distress and you make it to an emergency room, yes, you will receive health care. That's not because of some democratic policy. That's because of the Hippocratic Oath and that doctors in this country respect human life.
Mike Johnson allegedly can't even tell the truth about his own sexuality. So what makes people think that he's going to tell the truth about any other thing that's not even personal to him? Here's Hakeem Jeffries on TV this morning as well.
I guess, a very 2025 thing that we're dealing with this. But as part of these negotiations, apparently a feature are AI-themed videos that President Trump is sending out of you. One the other day, in which you're featuring wearing a sombrero and a mustache, and you alongside Senator Schumer saying, things that you did not actually say. And then one posted overnight where President Trump, with a Trump 2028 hat, which he did actually have on his desk in your meeting with him, he threw it in this video on your head and laughed. Can you just talk to us about what that meeting was like with the President of the United States, and, what is your response to these antics here at a moment when the government is shut down?
Well, it's further confirmation that Republicans are the ones who were clearly determined to shut the government down, because everything that President Trump has done subsequent to Monday has been unhinged and unserious. In fact, Donald Trump is in the Presidential Witness Protection Program. No one can find him when it comes to the government shutdown issue, because he knows he's responsible for having caused it. And the behavior, the erratic behavior that we've seen, is further confirmation of that unfortunate fact. Yet, as Democrats, Leader Schumer, myself, House Democrats, Senate Democrats, we've been clear. Listen, we'll sit down in good faith. We need to reopen the government in this Trump Republican government shutdown, and we can find a bipartisan path toward a spending agreement. But that spending agreement has to actually meet the needs of the American people in terms of their health, their safety, and their economic well-being, particularly as it relates to driving down the high cost of living and lowering health care costs, as opposed to driving millions of Americans into medical bankruptcy because of the Republicans' refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits.
So what do you think of his response?
I mean, Democratic lawmakers have a responsibility to negotiate and to, with this government on behalf of their constituents. I mean, they have an obligation to that. It seems as though this administration is unwilling to negotiate with Democrats, as Donald Trump has said. I mean, he said in the Oval Office meeting, whether to Chuck Schumer, whether it's by shutting down the government or by use of the military, which I'm not exactly sure what he was referring to when he said that, but they're going to get their way and he's going to get his way. And so I think it's pretty obvious to most Americans that that are not in the MAGA sphere that this is a Donald Trump government shutdown, and that he is not going to negotiate with Democrats despite needing 7-8 of their votes to pass a continuing resolution.
Yeah, I wonder. This is what the folks over at the poll. This is what the polls are saying, and this is Harry Inton over at CNN, because I said that it would be tough for Republicans to say that this is a Democrat, the Democrats' fault, even though they're trying to do that. I said it would be tough for them for the American people to swallow that, because they're in charge of every lever of government, and yet and still, though, they are doing it. That's what they're saying. This is the Democrats' fault. But this is how it's playing out in the court of public opinion. No audio, Andy.
In Maris, look at that. Who do Americans blame more? They blame Republicans. The New York Times, by 7 points, they blame Republicans in Congress and Donald Trump. In Maris, look at that. Blame Trump and Republicans by 12 points. How about Washington Post? By a 17-point margin. When you look at the data, what you're actually seeing is that more Americans are blaming Republicans than Democrats, which I think really goes against the conventional wisdom, because a lot of folks are saying, hey, Democrats are so divided. But at this particular point, Americans are placing the blame on the Republican shoulders, at least the plurality of them are.
All right, so looking at this, does this match up to what we see historically? Like, how is this different or the same?
Yeah, this is what I think is so notable here, is we can go back over time, and this is actually a pretty familiar story. What are we talking about here? Blame more at the start of shutdowns. 95, 96, they blame the Republicans more by 16 points. 2013, blame the Republicans more by 10 points. 2018, 2019, blame the Republicans more by 14 points. And right now, on the average poll, you see that the American public are blaming Republicans more by 12 points than Democrats. So So this actually lines up with what we've seen historically. When the government goes in the shutdown, at least in prior occasions, and in this one, what we see is that more Americans are likely to blame Republicans than Democrats, which again, it's why the polling right now doesn't exactly strike me as surprising, despite the fact that Democrats might be messy. Republicans are the ones who are getting more blame because that is what has happened.
But yet and still, they voted for this man. They still vote for the Republicans. They just kind of fall in line. It's bizarre.
Yeah, I mean, as somebody who spent the past 4 years traveling across the country trying to convince people of the, how dangerous Donald Trump and a Donald Trump 2.0 administration would be for this country, I think the vast majority of Americans, it's just they vote for the political party that they have always voted for, and there's very little wiggle room there. And then I also think there's just too many people are they're not in tune with what's happening to the level that say you or I are, or the Lemon Nation. They're just indifferent. And it's it really is, and it's kind of a callous way to look at things, Don. But it gives me some degree of hope that this administration is moving so quickly in its ability to adversely affect so many Americans, because unfortunately it seems like that's what it takes. It's not even enough for it to directly impact a friend, a neighbor, or a family member. It literally has to impact you before they wake the fuck up. And so, at least I could say that this administration is working overtime to adversely impact as many Americans as humanly possible in as quick and short a period of time. And so hopefully, if we are, able to have another election, people will stand up for themselves.
Mike, I want you to stand by. I want to hear what you think about this thing. But let me just tell the people what's going on before I get your opinion. So, according to the reports, that Sean Diddy Combs had his head bowed. He looked distressed as he was facing the judge at his sentencing hearing. The judge hinted that he will likely face a lengthy sentence. He was convicted on 2 counts of prostitution charges during a grueling 8-week trial. That was in July, but he was acquitted. 2 of the more serious charges, which were sex trafficking and racketeering. The prosecutors in this case have recommended 11 years in prison for Sean Diddy Combs for transporting male prostitutes across state lines for wild freak-off sex parties, including with ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. Here's what the defense, Sean P. Diddy Combs, his team have requested a significantly lower sentence of less than 14 months, counting the time that he's already served, which would allow him to be released by the end of the year. So the judge in this case is Aaron Subramanian. It's going to decide his sentence. He has signaled that Combs is unlikely to be freed soon, and we will see. And saying that, I think they're saying that the crimes that he was acquitted of can be considered in the sentencing, which is interesting. The defense appeared anxious in the courtroom as it became clear today at this hearing that it's not likely to go as they hoped. Now, here's the other thing. From the reporting is also showing that Sean Diddy Combs had speaking engagements planned for next week. That's what they're saying. So, Mike, how do you feel about this? Because he got off on well, I shouldn't put it that way. He was acquitted on the most serious charges. And some people, regardless of how they feel about Diddy, he wasn't charged for the Cassie thing. And I've heard people saying, I don't like Sean Diddy, Combs, I don't like what he did, but this was overreach. They went too far. These are people who are they're grown adults and they're consensual. As long as it's consensual, then I don't see a problem with it. What do you think?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I didn't follow the facts of this case very closely. I will say that, you made a comment about, the government making an argument for a stiffer sentence based on, the charges that Diddy was found guilty of, but also taking into account the totality of, his alleged conduct, whether or not he was criminally charged or not, and that's not uncommon. Judges are allowed to weigh sentencing based off of the totality of the circumstances and any conduct that may have been alleged during the court trial. I'll give you an example. There was one of the individuals who was criminally charged with assaulting me on January 6th. Pled guilty to assaulting another officer, and in exchange, the charges for assaulting me were dropped. Nevertheless, I was still allowed to testify at his sentencing hearing and give a victim impact statement, and he was eventually sentenced to over 7 years in prison. And the judge based that primarily on the conduct that that individual exhibited towards me on January 6th. And so that's not an uncommon practice.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're waiting for this to go down to see when because it's supposed to start at 10 and they said it started at 11, and I'm not sure how much longer it's going to go, but it's not looking good. If you were reading the reports of what the demeanor was like, in the courtroom, what's going on in the courtroom, it doesn't appear as if it's going to be a light sentence. But we don't know until it happens.
I mean, I understand the argument, a lot of Americans are making about consenting adults, but I think that, if he is to receive a stiff sentence, it's going to be based off that video where he's seen assaulting his, then girlfriend. Regardless of whether he was charged with that. And then, I have followed enough to have heard a myriad of allegations of, abusive conduct, physically abusive conduct. And all of that can be taken into account as long as it adheres to the guidelines, sentencing guidelines for the charges that he has been convicted of. Judges have a tremendous amount of discretion when it comes to sentencing. And I would imagine they're also going to take into account the, some of the good things that he's done, philanthropic things that he's done over the course of his career. I mean, that's part of the sentencing process as well.
Did you see the video that I played of?
I did.
What'd you think?
I think that, I think that there are some really awful people who have done some really good things in their communities and vice versa.
What do you mean? What are you saying?
I'm saying, like, it's clear that, he's done some really good things over the course of his career for his community, for people of color, for the music industry. But at the same time, he's been found guilty of some pretty egregious charges.
Yeah, certainly did. I just want to say, oh wait, hang on 1 second. Anyways, I thought that we had some information. Wait, hang on. Looking to see if it's in, because it can come in at any moment. Here's the thing, Michael, as you know, when you're going to these courtrooms, there's no cameras and no electronic devices. They will take your phone. And so the reporters that I've been speaking to said they take my phone, I have to get the phone on the way out. And so even if they're in there and there is a verdict, you can't really communicate it. Although some people break the rules, I'm sure somehow, and they get electronic devices in. I don't know. Maybe it's on do they take your Apple Watch? I don't know. I'm not in there. Don,
they take your Apple Watch.
They do.
Typically. Yeah.
So how do some people get it so some people get it?
So attorneys are allowed to bring their electronic devices into the courtroom. So, I cannot confirm or deny that, I may or may not have snuck a digital device into many federal courthouses by use of a attorney.
And so what does that mean? By use of an attorney. Got
yeah,
it.
you give the phone to an attorney and they can bring it in and then they give it back to you.
Oh, yeah. So thank you. You guys are in the chat saying, about H. Madsen and $1,000. That's Danish. So it's $153. So thanks. Everyone thinks it's like a whatever, but I appreciate it. They're like, whoa! DKK is Danish, by the way. Anyways, so the attorney brought it in and then hands it to someone who is a friend. Hands it to someone
or a client. I mean,
client or a source for. That's how it works. And what happens if the judge hears about that shit?
I mean, they can kick you out, and the attorney can be admonished. I mean, it's more concerning when your phone rings in certain judges' courtrooms. They don't like that, and if you take pictures, you can face criminal charges for that.
I was in the Conrad Murray Conrad Murray trial, sitting right behind Janet Jackson, and you're supposed to have your devices off. And I did have my device off, but for some reason, I don't know why, the alarm went off on my iPad. This is like right in the beginning of iPads. And the judge looked at me. I thought for sure he was going to take my iPad and kick me out. And I was like, shit. Janet Jackson turned around and looked at me like, I'm sorry. Sorry, Miss Jackson. I am for real. So anyways, I just wonder, about this thing. Sorry, I'm like looking and trying to read information. But I think this is the thing that everybody's going to be talking about today, because the shutdown, while it's happening and it affects a lot of people, this is the one that is the most salacious and the one that, is going to be all over. By the way, there's someone right here, Michael, this is for you. That one is for you.
Yeah, hit me up on Instagram. Michael Fanone official.
You don't know the gender.
That's true.
Well, we're not even going to go there. So again, this is what we're waiting on to see what's happening with Sean Diddy Combs. It should come in soon. And I'm just sitting here shooting the shit with Michael Fanone, trying to figure out what we're going to do. And we're not going to pretend like, everything is written and we have it all. Because I don't have to do that anymore. I can just tell you, we're waiting. We're trying to figure out what the hell is going on, y'all, down in that courtroom, because there is, at this point, there's no communication, because no electronic devices are allowed in. And we have a reporter who's in the room, but her phone has been taken. You guys know our Diddy expert is either Charles from TMZ or Simone Redwine, who's actually in the courtroom. And this is taking long. These things usually take a long time, but they don't usually take this long. So I'm wondering what is taking so long. Maybe they had to play that long ass video of Sean Diddy Combs that his defense team wanted. So this says the prosecution has finished its argument for a stiff sentence, and the court is on a short break before the defense takes over in a moment. That was 4 minutes ago. So we still have a bit. So I may have to just leave you guys and come back with the breaking, or I can leave it up. I don't know if we have a feed that we can leave up, but yeah, a surprise appearance in the court this morning. Virginia Hyant, a former girlfriend of Sean Diddy Combs, known as Gina, who was referred to as victim 3 in the indictment against Mr. Combs, but was not called as a witness. In a letter to the judge ahead of Mr. Combs' sentencing, Ms. Hyant disavowed the idea that she was a victim in the case. I felt pressure to feel like a victim, she wrote of her meetings with prosecutors. I told them I was not, but they insisted that I was, even when I expressed my truth otherwise. On Friday, Ms. Hyant entered the courtroom alone and sat in a black folding chair in the back row, keeping her hands mostly clasped on her lap and not appearing to speak with anyone. For his part, Mr. Combs sat mostly still during the government statement, hands on his lap, listening, but his head snapped up when the prosecutor said he had booked speaking engagements in Miami for next week. I told you guys that. And people are outraged. Now, was it him? Was it his team, his speaking team? You know, can you imagine? I'd be like,
wishful thinking.
Get me to go to jail like for a long time.
I think that was wishful thinking. Like if I set things in motion, maybe I'll actually not be in jail in a week. But yeah, I don't know if that. I don't think he's going to be there at that. I wouldn't buy any tickets to that speaking event. I'd hold off.
Nuts. Okay. Michael, thank you. I'll see you soon. I appreciate you, buddy.
All right, my friend. Take care of yourself.
Michael Fanone.
Be safe.
You too. You as well. Talk to you later. Hit him up.
All right.
IG, Michael Fanone official.
Official, yeah.
There's another Michael Fanone who stole your name?
I came into the social media game pretty late, and like every version of my name had been taken, like official Michael Fanone, Mike Fanone, all the things. And
you can get it back. You can just say you're a public figure, contact them, and they'll get your name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Don.
You too. Take it easy.
All right.
Okay. So, guys, I have to go and do more business. So when this comes down, we'll bring it to you. Don's boyfriend, someone say, Don's boyfriend, allegedly Michael Fanone. That rumor has been happening since Michael and I became friends after the insurrection. Michael Fanone is a very heterosexual man, and I am married. And so you can have a loving friendship with someone, and it can be platonic. So come on, y'all. This is 2025. Get over it. Anyways, thank you guys. So look, if you want to know anything about the show, here's what you do. You go to donlemon.com. We're going to provide updates all day for you. donlemon.com. If you click on the top arrow button, that'll take you right to our YouTube page. Please subscribe and become a member. We're closing in on 1 million subscribers. So help us get there. Make sure you're subscribed. Go and check it out. Check it on your phone. If you're watching us now on a laptop or wherever, I think even on the phone, you can just right there on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, there should be a subscribe button. And then there's a join button too if you just go onto the main page right there, okay? And we appreciate it. So look, I'm going to be following the Sean Diddy Combs thing. Also, if you can go to donlemon.com as well and then click on merch, and you can get some of our amazing merch that people love. I didn't wear any today. I should be wearing it. So there you go. I tried to hold out for this verdict to come in, but I got to go, and I'm sure you have to go as well. 932K. Where are we today? I don't even know. Where are we? Let's see where we are. Wow. No, 923. I knew something was off. 23, not 32. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Anyways, so I appreciate your support. I thank you for watching. I want you to be informed without being inundated. I am happy for all the new members. Welcome to the Lemon Nation. And I thank you, DKK, all of you, for your contributions and your generosity. It really means the world to us. That's how we stay viable out here on these streaming streets. So we got you. Until I see you back here at 5 p.m. Eastern time, if not before this Diddy verdict, Diddy sentencing. And so I will see you back here at 5 o'clock live for Lemon Live at 5 on the Don Lemon Show and the Don Lemon channel. In the meantime, here's what I want you to do. You guys know what I want you to do. Turn the TV off. Thanks everyone for watching. Your support means the world to us. So make sure you hit the like button and you subscribe to our channel to make sure that you never ever miss a video. We're live every day, 10 a.m. Eastern time. We drop even more content at 2 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you want more Don Lemon Show content, we'd love for you to become a member of the Lemon community, where you will receive access to special community posts. You'll get exclusive content and members-only live shows. So head over to our channel page or click the join button on this video. Again, thank you for watching. We appreciate your love and your support, and we will see you next time.